Hello and welcome to this YourTradebase product tour. Thank you for joining us and watching this quick product tour. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes just showing you some of the basic features of YourTradebase. We're going to take a look at some of the basic features around creating a quote in YourTradebase, getting quotes sent to your clients and customers, how we can respond to questions about quotes, how quotes are accepted, and then take a quick look at how we schedule work using YourTradebase and how we can invoice for the work that we do and track payments. So let's get into it. So YourTradebase is a web-based software. That means you can access YourTradebase from any device that's connected to the internet. Or we can log in with our username and password. When we do, we're taken to our dashboard. Now, our dashboard shows us what's on our agenda for today. So if we had any work scheduled, we'd see that here along with any appointments or general events that we've added into YourTradebase. And we also get to see any tasks that are due. So here we can see we have some overdue tasks that need completing. So our dashboard acts as a summary of what we've got going on today in our business, and on the right hand side here we'll also be shown any invoices that are overdue, any amounts that are owed, any quotes that we're waiting to send or that we're waiting for response from our customers on. So I'm going to show you how the process of quoting work and then moving through into winning that work and then invoicing for it works in YourTradebase. So I'm going to start off by creating a new quote, and the first thing we're asked is who we're quoting for. Now we have an option here to select from any existing customers that we've got in YourTradebase, or we can add a new customer. And when we add a new customer, you can see we have the opportunity to add their name, any company that they belong to, their address, and then we can add as many contact details as we need to. So we can add their email address, any contact numbers, or any other information that we want to store here. It might be access codes to the property, etc. For this demo, we're going to be invoicing Mrs. Tara Blackledge. And once we've selected or entered our customer, we're asked which job we're quoting for. Any jobs that exist for this customer will be listed here, or we have an opportunity to add a new job. So this quote is going to be for a boiler installation. We're asked what the status of this job is, so it's either a possible job or a job that we've already won. This is a possible job that we're trying to win, and you can see the job address defaults to the same address as we've already entered for the customer. So I'm going to save this job, and we're taken straight into our quotation. So you can see our quotation is pre-populated with our company logo and our company information. We've automatically assigned a reference number and today's date to the quotation. And it's for it's for our customer, so their details are shown at the top of the quote too. We have the opportunity to add a job address, so if we're working for a customer and the job's going to take place at a different address, we can enter that here. And we can also change our quotation. If we'd rather send this as an estimate or as a proposal, we can change that. We can change that at the top of the quotation too. So moving on down through our quotation, you can see that we have an opportunity to add an introduction to our customer. So in this case, we're just thanking them for the opportunity to quote for this work. I'm going to make a quick change to this introduction. You can see that I have the opportunity to save this as a new default. So any changes that I make here, we have the opportunity to amend, and then this new introduction that I save will then be available for all future quotations that I create. Moving down, we get into the bones of a quotation, and for most paperwork within YourTradebase, we have what we call work items, and we can add as many work items to a piece of paperwork, and in this case the quote, as we like. And you can see that within each work item, we have the opportunity to add a title for the work, describe the work that we're going to be completing, and then price the work with any materials, labour, and overall price that we need to complete this particular work item. And we also have the opportunity to have VAT or a sales tax, depending on which country you're from, at a chosen rate for each individual work item. So jumping in, this is for a boiler installation. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to dispose of the existing boiler. Now as I start typing, you see that because I've quoted previously in YourTradebase and I've started creating a price list of my services, as I start typing I have the opportunity to select from a pre-existing price list item in my services list. So I'm going to select here the removal and disposal of the existing boiler. You can see that it's pulled in the description for my work item along with some materials and labour that exist for this item as well. If I open up the materials, you can see that I then get a list where I can add as many materials to this work item as I want, and I can add quantities, unit price, and then any markup that I might want to add to cover things like handling costs or travel costs, organising the materials to be delivered on site. So we've got our material costs. And again, just like with our services prices, if we did want to add anything to here and we started typing, we'll get options given to us here. And we're also able to search our material list, and we can do that by category or by brand, depending on how we've saved our materials into YourTradebase. So we're going to say that's fine for the materials for this item. We can do exactly the same with labour. Labour rates can be added in. We can add as many labour items here as we need to, and we can choose what type of labour rate this is, whether we're charging this by the hours, by the day. We're going to say this is a daily rate. And this is per hour, and we can add any markup here that we want. And you can see that as with materials, as we enter labour into our quote, it keeps a running total up at the top here. So I'm going to say that's fine. So we've got our first work item here to remove and dispose of the existing boiler. The next work item we're going to add is for the supply and installation of a new boiler. And again, the description's populated. We've got our materials and labour, and that's automatically totaled everything for us. Now with this price list item, our materials contain 3 different options for boilers. So we've gone ahead and set this price list up with the 3 different options of boiler that we have. So we have an entry-level boiler, a mid-level boiler, or a premium product here. And this gives me the opportunity, if I click the right button, this gives me the opportunity to just remove those items that I don't need and just leave me with the materials that I need for this particular job. Again, any other materials that we need to use for supplying this boiler can also be added. So if we need piping, for example, we could add that in, and that might be 5 lots of pipes at £4.25, and we had a 10% markup to that. And again, our running totals adjusted, and you can see within our work item our new materials total is there as well. Our labour rates all automatically been completed, so we've got our second work item. And for the third work item, I'm going to give the customer an opportunity to upgrade to a smart thermometer. So again, the description's been pre-populated for me because I've already added that in. And you can see how quickly we can add items to the quote once we start saving and using our services list for that. Again, our materials are there, so we've got the Nest thermometer, which is great. And for labour, we're setting this at our standard daily rate, and if this was going to take a little bit longer, we could just adjust the quantity here, the number of units. We're going to say this is going to be a half a day's work to complete. So there we go. Because this is an optional item for our customer, we're going to mark it as an optional item. Now, optional items, you'll notice, aren't added to the grand total. So all of these work items have been totaled together. The VAT's been totaled up, and we've got our total price. As I click optional item, you can see that that's then taken off of this total amount. So this will show us the total amount for the work plus the optional item to upgrade to a smart thermometer. Now, if the work involved was more than this, I can again carry on adding work items. I also get the opportunity, I'll remove that one, I also get the opportunity to reorder this list as I need to. So that helps me keep everything in order and the way that I want to present it to my customers. As I move down to the bottom of the quote here, you can see that I've got an opportunity to add any notes into here for the customer. So I might want to say added thermometer thermometer upgrade as discussed, and also have the opportunity to enter any terms and conditions that I want to display at the bottom of my quote. So here I want to say this quote is valid for 30 days from the date above. So that's it. I've created the details and costed my quote very quickly. Now I just want to click to save this quote, and doing that presents me with my quotation as it will be displayed to my customer. So here you can see that we've got a draft quotation. All of the details have been pre-populated, and we've got our optional item listed underneath the items and the total price. Now, we might want to display the breakdown of our work items slightly differently to our customers, and the Customize menu gives us that opportunity. So clicking Customize opens up this extra menu with lots of options where I can choose to change the color scheme of my quote to better suit my branding. And I can also choose which details do and don't display on my quotation. So in this quote, I'd like to show a breakdown of the materials and the labour as they appear on the quote for my customer. So here you can see I've now got these items broken down, but actually let's show them how that price breaks down by material and labour as well for this quote. And you can see that doing that has added in the different materials and labour that I've costed, and then the total price. So now we have a breakdown of all of these items for our quotation. So once we're happy, we've got this quotation ready to send to our customer. As it's a draft quotation, it will appear on our dashboard as a draft quote. So it will show me that we've got a quote that's waiting to be sent. And within the quote section of YourTradebase, we'll also have that draft quotation listed here. So if we pop back into our quote, you'll see that we're ready to send. If I click to send this quotation, you can see that the customer email address has already been pre-filled, and we've also populated the subject of our quotation email message and also the body or the content of the message. You can see that things like our customer name, the fact that this is a quotation has already been pre-filled along with our email signature into this quotation. Now, every email message that we send in YourTradebase can be templated and saved, so we can customize and personalize email messages as you need them, and can include as much or as little detail as you need. And every time you then send a quotation email, that template that you saved will be used. So everything in YourTradebase has been designed to be very quick and to save you from entering lots and lots of the same information over and over again. At the bottom of the message, we get the opportunity to add any attachments that we want. You'll see that the PDF for this quotation automatically gets attached, but I can add as many different attachments as I want. I might want to attach full terms and conditions to my quotation, or maybe some drawings or previous customer testimonials. They can all be attached here as well and sent off in the email. The option here for quotes is we've got the option to turn on or off a link for our customers to view this quote online, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But for now, I'm happy with that. I'm going to click and go ahead and send this quotation. So you see this quotation has been emailed to my customer. We've got the in the activity feed here, we can see that this quote's been emailed, and the draft quote is now a sent quote. We'll remind you of this sent quote if we don't hear anything back from our customer. If you don't mark this as accepted or declined, you'll receive a notification or reminder from us that this needs following up with your customer. YourTradebase also gives you the ability to send follow-up emails, and again, these can be templated. So within a couple of clicks, you can follow up very gently with customers to find out if they're still interested in pursuing this work. So now that we've got this quotation sent, I'm going to jump in and show you what a preview looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and open this as if my customer's viewing it. And you can see here that we see our company logo. We can see the original message that we sent to our customer, and we get the quotation displayed with all of the details and the customized options that we wanted for them to see. On the right hand side here, you see we have the opportunity to, as a customer, to ask you a question and send you a question about this quote, or to accept the quote. So in the first instance, I'm going to go ahead and send you, does this include all disposal of materials safely? We've got a question here from our customer. If I can spell correctly, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and send that email message, so you can see that your customer can see how the conversation thread's playing out. And if I jump back into our quotation and update it, you can see that I've got a activity here, customer asked a question. Now what's more, we've got these notifications up here that have updated in YourTradebase. So clicking this notification, I can see that I've got a new message from that customer. So wherever I am in YourTradebase, whatever I'm doing, or even if I'm not logged into YourTradebase, when I get an email message from my customer about a piece of work that I'm doing or something I'm quoting for, that will appear as a notification here, and we'll also send you an email message showing you what it is that your customer's asked you. So clicking this message, we can go through to review what that message is, and that will show us the conversation with the customer, so we can see our original message with the quotation attached, and we can also see the question from our customer, and this gives me the opportunity very easily to reply yes. There we go. And again, we can see all of our conversation in one place. So if we come back to a quote after some time, we don't have to dig through our email inbox to see what was said by who and when, what was agreed, what was discussed. It's all here in one place within YourTradebase. So I'm going to jump back into our sent quotation here. Oh, here we go. Let's mark that as sent. And we're going to mark this quote now as having been accepted. Because we've got optional items, our upgrade to a thermometer is an optional item. YourTradebase asks us which items have been accepted. So what work items need to be added to the job for this quote. So the customer's accepted the disposal, the supply and install. They've also want to go ahead with the smart thermometer upgrade, so we've clicked that one as well. So we've now got our quote that's been accepted. We've scoped the work, so we said these are the pieces of work that the customer wants to go ahead with, and we can go ahead and view our job. So our job will show us, if I pop into the summary tab here, we've got an unscheduled job because it's been accepted by the customer, but we haven't yet scheduled in when we're going to complete this work. And on the right hand side here, you can see that we've got how much we quoted, what the total amount of this work is. Any amount that's been paid or that's invoiced for this job will also display here, along with the balance. So we've got a financial snapshot of this job here. You can also see that we've got the ability to add any notes that we want to for this job. So we could say here, customer wants this completed after Easter. And we can keep track of as many notes as we need for this particular job. And we can also set ourselves tasks. So if we wanted to schedule a call with the customer, or remind ourselves to call and arrange work dates, we can put any description here, and we can select when this is due. So I want to just set myself a reminder to call and arrange the work dates for this job for tomorrow. Now that task will appear on my dashboard tomorrow morning, and it will also be emailed to me again as a reminder. So let's go ahead and schedule some work for this customer. I'm going to flick into the calendar view here, and you can see any of the jobs that I've got in my other jobs that I've got booked into my calendar will be displayed here. So it'll very easily allow me to see where the gaps in my schedule are. And obviously here I've not got very much on, so I've got a pretty free reign. I'm going to click here, book this in on the 12th, and I've got the opportunity to say, is this an appointment with the customer or a work date? This is a work date. We want to try and complete the work. Again, in as many places as we can in YourTradebase, we pre-populate the information so that you don't have to do lots and lots of typing. So we've selected the 12th. We've got job number 3, the boiler installation for our customer, with the address and the description of the job, and we can say when this is going to start. So this is going to be 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to book this out. It's going to be a 2-day job, so we're going to put that in until 5 o'clock on Friday there. We'll go ahead and save that date, and we get our confirmation of that work date with our customer, and we get the opportunity to send a confirmation email. So if we wanted to send a quick email through to our customer to say, hey, we've booked your work in, here's when it's going to start, let us know if there's anything else that you need, we can send that to our customer very, very easily. So then we have our work booked in. So going back into our job, we can see that we've now got this job is upcoming, and for Thursday the 12th of April we've got this work booked in. Now let's say we take a deposit payment for jobs before we get started. We can go ahead and create a new invoice now. So within the job I'm going to click to add a new invoice. So now we know that we're creating a new invoice for this customer in this job, and we're asked how much we want to invoice. So we've got the opportunity to invoice the whole amount. We could select particular work items, so we could say let's just invoice for one particular element of this work. But in this case I'm going to take a 20% or require a 20% deposit now that the work's booked in before we get started. So I'm going to select 20%, create this invoice, and there we go. We've got an invoice with today's date and a due date, which I could change if I wanted to. So this is due within a week. We've got our 20% payment. Now if we selected our work items, they'd be pre-populated with all of our materials and labour, and our 20% payment's been calculated, and we've got an invoice now for 20% of the work. Again, just as we did in quotes, we can add further work items if we needed to here, but in this case that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Let's send this to our customer. Now this is actually we're being told here we're not able to send emails to this email address because it's bounced back. This is a fake email address. So I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in here, and I'm going to get this invoice sent. Again, our email text has been pre-populated, so that's all ready to go. We've now sent this invoice to our customer for £341.84. Again, we'll be reminded on our dashboard when this invoice becomes overdue, and we've got the opportunity to send payment reminders through YourTradebase as well. Again, a couple of clicks and we've got a payment reminder sent out to our customer. Now on the invoice, you'll notice on the right hand side here we're showing how much has been owed and how much has been paid against this invoice. So if you take part payments, we could very, very easily add a payment of £100, and we could say this is a cheque payment. We could make a note there. We're going to add that payment, and you can see the amount that's owing has now been reduced, and on our invoice we're displaying that we've received the payment, and this is now the new outstanding balance. I'm going to go ahead and add the remaining amount here. So this was completed by a bank transfer. Adding this payment shows us that we've now got an invoice that's marked as paid, the full amount's been paid, and we can see which payments we've received. If we wanted to send a receipt to our customer for the payment that they've made, we just click on the send receipt button there. We get a receipt that's got all of our details and the customer details on, and again we can very, very quickly click to send that over to our customer. If I hop back into the invoice and then into the job that this invoice belongs to, our financial summary has also been updated, where you can now see the total of the work, how much had been paid, and what the new balance of that work is. So we'll be reminded that we've got an outstanding amount for a piece of work that's upcoming, and we can very, very quickly invoice for the remaining balance when we need to. So that's a very, very quick walkthrough of the basic functions of creating a quote in YourTradebase very, very quickly, getting it sent to our customer, fielding questions, having a quote accepted by our customers, then getting some work scheduled in and raising an invoice against that job. There's lots more besides, so I'd invite you, if you haven't already started a trial, take a free, no obligation 2-week trial. Don't have to enter your credit card, and you can have a play with YourTradebase yourself and give the tyres a kick. If you do take us up on that, or you've started a trial and you'd like some further help, anywhere that you are within YourTradebase, you'll see a little help icon down in the bottom right of the screen. Please do give it a click. Here we can browse any help guides, so we can take a look at anything that we want help with within YourTradebase. So I can search and I can take a look without leaving YourTradebase how to achieve different things. You can also see what's new and been updated within YourTradebase. We're always working every week on making YourTradebase a better product, and we'll announce those updates as they happen within here. Or you can click to contact support and get in touch with us, start a conversation, ask us questions. We're very, very happy to help, and we look forward to hearing from you. So once again, thanks very much for watching this very, very quick product tour of YourTradebase. My name's Adam. I should have introduced myself at the beginning, but I'm here to help. Click contact support anytime you need any further help, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.